Welcome to another episode of the Daily Chat Podcast, where we talk about all things awesome and nerdy. All right, everyone, we're going to continue this sort of accidental week-long special talking about Comic-Con. And joining me is Lance Paul, the traveling nerd, co-owner of the website God Hates Geeks. Welcome,
Thank you. Welcome. I'm happy to be back.
Mm-hmm. Now, Lance, first off, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
And above all, so let's just get right into it. Comic-Con, this wasn't your first one. How would you say it compares to others?
No, yeah, this is my my 8th Comic-Con altogether. I've been here for 8 years in LA and 8 years going to Comic-Con. It was good. It was not as good as other years, obviously, because Marvel didn't attend Marvel movies in Hall H, which is always usually super big because they'll debut the trailers there, but then they also give behind-the-scenes footage and also extended trailers. So them not being there definitely made it a little lackluster, but DC definitely picked up the slack. They had a great panel, one of the best panels I've seen them have in Hall H. And then also there were some other great ones too. Transformers Bumblebee, surprise hit of Comic-Con, I would say. That would be one of the ones I would never expect being that good. And also too, the rest of Comic-Con was great too. I mean, the other comic panels, they debuted a ton of information there. The exclusives, surprisingly, Hasbro has always been really great for toy exclusives. Mattel and Funko were the best ones this year, so they kind of like DC taking the torch from Marvel, they took the torch from Hasbro, which was really nice. And then the outside stuff was great. Had him some great parties. We did the Jack Ryan party, which was huge. The Entertainment Weekly party, always fun. And it was just, it's Comic-Con. It's always a great time. You have a bunch of nerds, and you party with the celebrities or directors, and you kind of let the hair down and just have a great time at Comic-Con.
So it sounds like this trip was equal parts pleasure and business.
It's Comic-Con. It's always equal parts pleasure and business.
Alrighty. So how would you say this compares to, say, other cons you've probably covered? Is this always like the best out of all of them, or would you say that there are some other cons out there that might be possibly sneaking their way up to take away San Diego Comic-Con?
No, I've been to Chicago Comic-Con, I've been to New York Comic-Con. San Diego is still the cream of the crop when it comes to Comic-Cons. Even being a little bit less than its best, like this year, it's still a great convention. It's in sunny, beautiful San Diego. The weather's amazing. And it's just, in Gaslamp District in San Diego, it's just the whole city comes out for Comic-Con. In New York or Chicago, it's not like that. You have the surrounding area around the convention that gets kind of nerdy, but honestly, all of San Diego down in Gaslamp, every bar, every restaurant, every store, they change out their menus. Everything is situated for a very geek-tastic weekend at Comic-Con.
What would you say would be the nerdiest themed drink you purchased?
Oh, I didn't purchase any of them because they're all loaded with sugar. But my co-owner of God Hates Geeks, he had a couple Hulk blasters, I think, which are these green drinks, and he had a giant Hulk burger. So it had like the buns were like green buns and everything. And then also Tin Fish down there always changes out. They were actually co-redesigned, but from The Good Place, the TV show. And so they had everything was Good Place themed at the Tin Fish right across the street from Comic-Con.
Okay, so I could see why that would win every time.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, they have, there's a Rhode Island Comic-Con, and that's actually getting pretty big.
Is it?
Yeah, Rhode Island Comic-Con is getting pretty big in its own right, given the size of the state. I mean, I remember a few years ago it happened on Halloween weekend.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it happened on Halloween week. I didn't go because I was in Boston at that weekend. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it. But I just remember hearing about that, and I talk about this on a previous podcast. But one year it got so bad and so overcrowded, they oversold the tickets. They sold too many beyond the venue would allow.
Oh, damn.
For Fire Code. It got so bad that there were vendors and even celebrities who had panels who would step outside for just 2 minutes to smoke a cigarette. And then security wouldn't let them back in.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's different tiers of comic conventions, you could say. San Diego is the top tier one, and it goes really off of who's going to be there, what news, what trailers, what information is coming out of that convention. Every year, the top 3 are San Diego, Chicago, New York. Chicago and New York are still below San Diego. San Diego, because it's more than just a comic convention. It's video games, it's movies, it's TV, it's comics. And movies take the center stage since they're so close to Hollywood. So, I mean, Hall H is practically just films.
Okay.
And that's where they drop the biggest trailers. That's why it's such a trailer heavy summer. This is where they drop everything's gonna be coming out for the next year. And then also too, it's where you know, if you're in Hall H, which is exclusive Hall H, if you know anything about that, there are people that will sleep overnight for 2-3 days. I mean, Hall H start their line for sleeping over to get into that thing starts on a Monday, and it doesn't even open up till Thursday. It is crazy. They spend days just trying to get into the exclusive Hall H, because not only will you see trailers, all the celebrities come out, but then also too they have these like I saw another 10 minutes of Aquaman that you will never see until the movie comes out. Every movie is like that. Every movie will show you more footage. I saw more footage of Venom than you will see till the movie comes out. So it's definitely an exclusive place to be.
So let me ask you that then, since that you brought them up. Just you obviously, I'm sure they made you sign something, or you know, you just don't want to give anything away. But on a scale,
I didn't make you sign anything, and I can give everything away. I don't have footage to show you.
Okay, fair enough. All I just want to know is, based on those 10 minutes of footage you saw for both Venom and Aquaman, because I personally am on the fence about both of them, given the fact that, number one, in Venom, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, and I don't really like the idea of Venom showing up without a Spider-Man.
Totally understand.
And number two, it's Aquaman.
I'm a huge Aquaman fan, so...
I have nothing against... there's nothing wrong with liking Aquaman. I'm just saying I kind of like that I'm kind of one of those people that runs with the joke of all he can do is talk to fish, even though I'm well aware he can do more than that. All I'm trying to say is it's also given the track record I personally feel with the DCEU.
I will be honest. This year's Comic-Con flipped the coin for DCEU. It's actually not even called DCEU now. It's called I think it's DC Universe or something like that now. They've changed that name. Shazam and Aquaman were hands down. They owned the whole ring for Comic-Con.
Okay.
Shazam, it looks amazing. It is bringing humor. It is everything Shazam needs to be. It's without trying to be like Marvel. I think Shazam was to me, that was the biggest, like, oh shit.
Okay.
Between that and Bumblebee, they both were like, oh shit moments. Okay. Where I was like, damn, I'm really excited about this.
Well, first off, I still haven't seen the Bumblebee trailer yet. I might take a look at that in a second. But the big thing I was going to say was, because I did a previous podcast that has, where a friend of mine and we talked about the DC trailers, like the day they came out. And I'm glad that you're actually saying to me now that they're not trying to be Marvel, because I'm not going to lie to you, this Shazam trailer in particular, for some reason I got a very Ant-Man vibe out of it. I don't know why.
Well, you got to think of it this way. It's the nature of the character. So it is a 12-year-old boy that just all of a sudden finds himself in the body of Superman.
Right.
So to me, the humor is point on. It's hilarious. The cast they picked for that is excellent.
Okay.
Yeah, it's comparing it to Ant-Man or even a Guardians of the Galaxy is a relative good way to compare it, because it is an obscure character. Not many people really know about Shazam. Not many people really understand what the hell Ant-Man is. And then when you see Ant-Man, you're like, oh fuck, this guy talks to me. This guy talks to ants. That's a pretty good movie. Same thing. Oh, it's a 12-year-old boy. It's like Big mixed with Superman. It's a good film. And to go back to your first question about Aquaman and Bumblebee, Aquaman and Venom, man, the footage I saw of Aquaman, I'm so excited about this film. I mean, it's Jason Momoa playing Aquaman.
Right.
If you get past that and you're okay with him not being a golden-haired white kid.
Oh, I'm totally fine with that.
I'll be honest, I am so excited about Aquaman. It looks like everything I would want He-Man to be, but underwater. It is awesome.
Okay.
And
all
then
right.
Venom. Here's the deal with Venom I have. The footage I saw looks amazing. I know you're probably thinking of like, how does he have a spider on his chest or whatever.
I heard they're not doing that.
They are and they're not. It's not as prominent as, let's say, Venom would have, like from the comic books, where it's this giant white spider ripped off from Spider-Man. There's definitely, like, I don't know if it's veins or there's something on his chest to make it look like it's webbing or something, but no, it looks good. My only concern with it is that if it does so well that, you know, when Marvel's contract's up for Spider-Man, because that's an open contract, it's not a locked-in deal, that Sony's like, it's not forever. Sony could be like, well, you know, we're doing really good with our Spider-Verse. We're not going to renegotiate this with you, Marvel. That'd be a concern I would have. I would hope Sony would not do that. But they did talk about Venom going against Spider-Man, and their main thing is like, hey, if the movie does really well, we would love to see that happen. And I think that's probably where Marvel's at too, where they're like, hey, you are not part of the MCU unless you do amazing, and then we'll be like, well, we'll reconsider it, and then we can bring you back in.
Okay.
And then that whole thing with the spider on the chest could be addressed, because Venom is very much, he adapts to his situation. He could then have the white Venom thing on his chest. But I mean, the footage I saw, it looks great, dude. It's pulling from Lethal I think it's Lethal Vengeance or Lethal Protector. It's pulling from the whole Lethal Protector storyline of Venom, which is a good one. There's a couple different symbiotes. Venom has to, Eddie Brock gets the Venom symbiote, and how he does it's amazing. You even had Tom Hardy on stage talking about how the acting behind it was more intense than what you think, because he is the voice of Venom too. He's not just the voice of Eddie Brock.
Really?
So he would record the voice of Venom for an ear prompter. He'd have the little ear bud in his ear. So a lot of the scenes where you see like Venom's talking to him, but no one else hears Venom talking to him, all the actors had to know the pacing to where like Eddie Brock's hearing the voice, he's responding to the voice of himself as Venom in his ear. But then also, too, then everyone surrounding is also talking at the same time, too. So those are very well-timed out scenes I've seen so far.
Okay.
And the footage I saw was not 100% completed. But what I saw, I'm happy, man. I'll be excited to see it. I just really hope they don't try and do so much with the Spideyverse / Venom, or Venomverse, whatever you want to call it, that Spider-Man maybe goes away from Marvel, because I'd be sad to see that happen.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I'd much rather see it go the other way, where somehow Marvel and Sony just work out a deal where it's just, whatever. Like,
I hope so.
I'd be okay with it if they just somehow assimilated all the other Spider-Man Rogues Gallery characters and made it so that way, they could join the MCU as well. Like, I mean, I would actually love to see Black Cat join the MCU. I'd love to see Silver Sable. I'd love to see Venom, obviously. I mean, I know we already had the movie featuring him, but I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Doc Ock come back.
Agreed. I definitely will see. I would not be surprised if Marvel uses Doc Ock for their Spider-Man trilogy they're doing right now. Mm-hmm. I will say this. I know Silver Sable and Black Cat has fallen by the wayside, so that's no longer an item at Sony right now.
Really?
What is an item is obviously Venom. They're moving forward with Morbius, I can't even think of his name, the guy that plays Joker on, the actor that plays Joker.
Jared Leto.
Jared Leto's playing Mobius, and we'll see where that goes. I mean, he's good cast for it. It's same thing. I think that happens in the Venomverse, so we'll see. And I know they're trying to do some kind of Silk movie, but then we also have the character that Cindy Moon is also in Homecoming, so I don't know how that one's going to work.
Wait. They wanted to make a Silk movie like within Sony's side of things, not on Marvel's side of things?
On Sony's side, they want to do it.
I don't want that. Like, I actually like the idea of having Cindy Moon and Miles Morales.
I'm with you. I mean, the thing, Sony kind of reminds me a lot of DC. To stay in the limelight and make it seem like they're still going somewhere, they throw a bunch out there. Like, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. It never really gets made. DC does the same thing. There's a supposedly Jared Leto's Joker movie that I guarantee I will $100 right now tell you is never going to get made.
Because they're making the Joaquin Phoenix one.
Well, they were going to try. Supposedly they said they were going to do both. The only thing you've heard that from is you heard Jude Law, or you heard what's the actor's name again?
Joaquin Phoenix?
No.
Jared Leto.
You've heard Jared Leto say that they're making a Joker film. I guarantee they're making a Joker film. They're trying to steer as far away from him as they can, because the fandom just didn't really like Jared Leto as Joker.
No. I mean, for me, I just remember when they first showed that picture of Jared Leto, and honestly, it was just the mere fact that he had that tattoo across his forehead that said damaged. Something about that just rubbed me the wrong way. I really feel like there was more they could have done with the Joker in Suicide Squad.
Well, there was more film. They actually end up not using it. They wish they had made the Joker the villain of that movie. I know that. He's very much a hot topic Joker, which I was okay with that, and his performance is fine too. It just, to me, it just wasn't the Joker that I know as a Joker. I
mean, I'm usually okay with that kind of stuff, to be quite honest with you. I like the idea of, okay, give me something that I haven't seen before, but I don't think they did him justice.
Yeah, I think Jared Leto also, he big shoes to fill. Yeah, the last performance of the Joker was Heath Ledger, and that
won an Oscar for it.
Won an Oscar, so Jared Leto decided to go even out over the top with it. That's the only thing I can really think. Who knows? I mean, this Joaquin Phoenix one, it's all weird. It's part of their DC Dark universe now. That's what they're doing. I mean, they're great actors. I mean, Robert De Niro now is in talks to join the cast as well. Martin Scorsese is producing it. I am sure it will not be a bad film. It just, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with it. But to go back to Comic-Con, because they didn't mention any of that at Comic-Con, other things really meant honorable mentions. Like I said, Bumblebee was excellent. It was the first time I've actually ever seen I'll be honest, Michael Bay sucks. I think big explosions, he's great, but like an actual storytelling, not a chance.
I feel like Michael Bay should definitely just go back to the sidelines and just become more of a special effects guy.
That would be amazing.
He should just open up his own special effects production
Agreed.
company, and that would be fine. And I feel on a similar note, I feel that Zack Snyder should stop being a director, but I'm okay with him being like a cinematographer or something like that.
Beautiful shot. Same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, Michael Bay knows explosions. They look believable. They look amazing.
Yeah.
Snyder is a phenomenal cinematographer. I mean, the shots he shoots are beautiful.
Right.
Storytelling, it's just he tries to shove too much in there.
Yeah.
And Michael Bay just doesn't shove enough in there. The thing with Bumblebee, though, I really liked, it was the first time I've seen a trailer, because obviously it's the first Transformers that's not directed by Michael Bay that had heart. Like, you actually, like, at first I was like, oh man, they're going to do a Transformers set in the 80s with Bumblebee. You see that trailer and you're like, man, I really like this. I'm interested about this film. There's heart in it. You care for the Bumblebee. You care about the other characters. The other footage I saw as well was really good. I'm excited about that film. That'll be the first Transformer. I'll be like, hey man, I'm going to see that opening day. I'm excited about that.
I'll look at them later. Tell me this about the Iron Fist Season 2 trailer. I mean, because, now, did you see Luke Cage Season 2? Have you finished watching Luke Cage Season 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the thing. I was not a big fan, like many, of the first season of Iron Fist.
I don't think anybody was.
Yeah, exactly. All I want to know is, because I actually didn't hate spoilers for anybody who hasn't finished Luke Cage Season 2 yet. I actually didn't mind that one episode where Danny Rand showed up. I actually thought, you know what? Here's the thing, because Iron Fist Season 1, not a big fan of. However, like, for whatever reason, that one episode he was in Luke Cage, I actually felt like, okay, this is the Iron Fist I've been waiting to see.
Agreed. I mean, honestly, that was one of the best episodes of Luke Cage. It really showcased the character. And then the footage they showed at Comic-Con for Season 2, I mean, honestly, man, I'm really excited about it. We're getting the masks. We're getting Steel Serpent. We're getting Steel Serpent with the purple fist.
Okay.
So he's also going to have the back tattoo. Like, I'm pretty excited about it. And also, too, Danny Rand, one of the main complaints with the first season was, one, his acting was wooden, and two, his martial arts sucked. He has been doing a lot of training. His martial arts, you can tell just from even the episode of Luke Cage, has continued to improve. You can tell that he's taken the backlash. He's like, well, I'm going to show you guys I know what I'm doing.
Okay, good.
So I'm excited about it. And other TV stuff, too, I would recommend that was really good was Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead. I mean, I'll be honest, I kind of fell off with with Walking Dead last season. And the footage I saw, because of the jump in time and everything, it's exciting again. I'm kind of excited to check that out, because they're now in a world very similar to the comic book where there are no cars. I mean, horses are more important than bullets, because, they're so far in the future to where, civilization has deteriorated. So it's like, once again, before, it was a zombie show, then became more of a human show, and now it's more of a post-apocalyptic living in this wasteland of a world show. So it's the thing I like about that is just it keeps reinventing itself. And Fear the Walking Dead looks great too. They, same thing. They did the time jump, and now you have that one character from Walking Dead in there. If you haven't seen it, I'm not going to spoil it, but both shows looked excellent. I'm excited about them. So yeah. And then also the couple other things I would really mention. Hall H, the Harry Potter, obviously, Wonderful Beasts, Where to Find Them. I'm butchering the name, apologies, but footage looks great. The Fantastic Beasts, Crimes of Grindelwald.
Okay.
Footage looks great. I'm excited about that as well. We have a young Dumbledore played by Jude Law. And the footage, I mean, honestly, the footage looks really good in that as well. I mean, like I said, Hall H was good. It just wasn't as good as other years because of Marvel. Because the thing with Marvel is it ups the ante for DC, because they compete. It's like they're going against each other. So Marvel will spend a ton of money, then DC has to spend a ton of money, and before you know it, you have this cinematographic, amazing world of like just mind-blowing shit. For like 1 year when Disney was there, they brought Star Wars. They did a whole orchestra outside. We all were given lightsabers and they brought the actual orchestra from Star Wars with the original cast to go on there and just listen to music with you. Other years we had, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. They showed us an extra 25 minutes of footage. The whole cast came out, all in character and dressed up and everything. So, obviously the bar gets set pretty high. We had a little bit of that. I mean, don't get me wrong, with Fantastic Beasts, Johnny Depp came out in full character, and we all had wristbands that would glow depending on what kind of magical spell he was doing, which was cool. I mean, it was good. Just like I said, it was just not as good as other years.
Okay, so note to self: next year, Kyle, really get your ass on going to Comic-Con.
Yeah, because I know Marvel is not doing any info really until after Avengers 4, so I'm assuming it'd be a good time to go because they'll be really showcasing what they're planning for the next year of amazing movies.
Okay, I've said it before on this podcast, I'm really hoping that at the very least for one whole phase, maybe even the next 3 phases, who knows, I really want the Secret Invasion.
Well, that's what this is leading up to for the next one.
Yeah, because that's what they're doing with Captain Marvel. It looks like.
Well, Captain Marvel deals with the Skrull and Kree War. I was combining them. Deals with that. Then, beginning of Avengers 4, we're gonna have opening up with Hawkeye actually going against Skrulls, which is leading up to Secret Invasion. So what I've heard is either the next Avengers movie will be Secret Invasion, or it will be the next overlapping storyline will be Secret Invasion.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it because honestly, since before Civil War, since Winter Soldier, I don't think Marvel. I don't want to say that every movie has been amazing, but I will say that every movie's been a hit at least with me.
Yeah, I would say the bar keeps raising. So obviously, I loved Ant-Man and the Wasp. Is it going to go against Avengers 4? Hell no. Is it better than Ant-Man 1? Yeah, I think it is because it takes those characters and takes them a step further. And
yeah.
And that's the good thing about Marvel. They don't try and have a breakout hit with every film. Every film is not going to be Black Panther or Avengers 4, but they totally understand that.
Yeah.
They're just continuing the storyline and they're making a ton of money doing it.
Right.
The thing with DC that they've always had an issue with, they've been trying to play catch up. So every film they do has been trying to, get bigger or try and compete against Marvel. Like Marvel doesn't care. They're like, hey, we're gonna make a great film. You love these characters. This is what we're gonna showcase.
Right, which is what I wish DC would focus more on.
Which I think they are.
And which is about time, I say, because
the thing I think DC is doing now is they're operating in their own worlds to where Shazam is in his own world. It's Shazam film. Yeah, they'll allude to Superman. You've already seen the newspaper that was in the trailer. They allude to the bigger picture of what's happening in the world, but it is a Shazam story. Aquaman, same thing. It'll allude to the other stories, but it is an Aquaman story, and that's why John, I think it's John Wang, the director. That's why I think these movies are going to succeed because they're just telling really great storytelling.
I hope they do. I really do because I'm just sick and tired of DC. Here's the thing that I've always felt about DC. I don't have a problem with them trying to do. I get that they want to be opposite. I get Marvel tends to get credit for being the lighter of the two franchises, which. Let's be real here. They get dark. Marvel can get really dark sometimes. Oh, yeah. I just feel that when you compare it to DC, though, they kind of just gloss over the darkness. Like, oh yeah, this bad thing happened. Now here's a joke. Here's another joke. Here's another joke. Really cool action scene. Some darkness, but the only thing that I wish DC really took out of Marvel's playbook, which would have been to establish the characters first and then have them start teaming up.
Agreed. And also, too, I think the biggest issue with DC, too, has been they've tried to make every one of their characters dark because that's what worked for the Chris Nolan films.
Yeah, but that's Batman. Batman's supposed to be dark.
It does work for Batman, but it doesn't work for Superman.
No, I didn't like that. It
doesn't work for Aquaman, or it doesn't work for Wonder Woman. It doesn't work for Suicide. Well, it works for Suicide Squad, but still, you get my idea.
But they didn't do it with Suicide Squad. I felt like Suicide Squad.
Dark, but
it was. I felt it was dark and lighting.
Well, they did it dark, and I think they try to copy Guardians of the Galaxy with that one. But I mean that's a whole podcast in itself for issues that film has. Mm-hmm. Now the thing with Shazam is I like because Shazam is you can tell it's a light, fun. It's more of a family film than any DC movie they've made for a while. Same thing with Aquaman. It's more of a family film than anything DC has done.
Okay. Which
is surprising because how the hell are you going to sell toys? I mean, toys make a lot of money for Mattel and for DC. But how the hell are you going to sell toys when your film's called Batman vs Superman and somebody dies in it?
Right.
How are you going to sell toys if it's Suicide Squad and it's Suicide Squad?
Right.
How are you going to sell toys when you have Man of Steel and Superman kills in it? It's like, what the hell are you guys thinking, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just find that funny though because Marvel still sells toys in Captain America, Iron Man. They don't have a problem breaking a neck.
But that's not the whole movie.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. And usually when they do it, there's a reason for it.
And the thing with Captain America goes out his way not to kill.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's also not known as somebody that has never killed.
Exactly.
Superman has always been known as somebody that never kills. Batman's also known as somebody that never kills.
Actually, there's evidence to suggest the otherwise for Superman. I have seen lists of where both characters have been forced to kill.
Forced to kill, but they don't
go out of their way to do it.
They don't go out of their way to do it.
Yeah, I know. And that was kind of my beef with Batman and Batman versus Superman, which was just the whole no killing rule. Even I had to admit was always a a bit of a stretch. There's
agree.
no way you could definitely guarantee. There's no way you can save everyone. Is the bottom line.
But you don't have to like just kill to kill. And that's one issue I have with what someone else that came out of Comic-Con was the Titans trailer. The Titans trailer was fun. It's dark. I mean, it looks like everything else DC does. I'll watch it. I'll probably get the DC bundle package because it's $70, and I kind of want to see some of these shows. And I'm excited about Swamp Thing. Mm-hmm. James Wang from Aquaman's directing it, or he's directing the first episode and producing it. But Titans is just, it's dark, and then you have Robin just he says fuck you Batman, and then also you see him breaking necks of a hood that he's just fighting against. Like, that's not like Robin either.
No, exactly. Like my whole thing when it comes to the ideas of superheroes killing, like, I always felt, I get why Superman doesn't kill Lex Luthor. I get why Spider-Man might not kill Norman Osborn. I get that stuff. Those are men that can be, at least on paper, be tried and imprisoned by human means. Superman killing Zod, I was kind of okay with, just because what are you going to do with Zod?
Well, he didn't try not to kill him. Let's put it that way.
He has. I mean,
because remember in the Richard Donner film, he threw him back into the Twilight and the Phantom Zone. I think there's things they could have done, but that also film didn't talk about the Phantom Zone. Like, that wasn't even part of the whole thing. It was just a rogue ship that had been in space for a while. So yeah. I mean, here's the deal, in my opinion, with superheroes killing. Superheroes still go by the same guideline as civilization does. Hey, listen, that guy can be tried, or if he can put in jail, they're going to do that.
No, I mean, yeah.
If it's like a doomsday effect, kind of like Doomsday, and they have to kill, and that's the only option, they're going to kill.
Yeah.
Random thugs that Batman or Robin is fighting, they would never kill. He may beat the shit out of them, but he's never going to kill them. No. Superman, the Zod kid, I mean, the thing with that, it was just, and I think the main issue with that is they didn't build up the tension of that was the only option Man of Steel had. Because this is the first Man of Steel film in this film of, Henry Cavill as Superman. And in the first outing out, he kills somebody. Mm-hmm. Now, if it had been like the third film or second film, or he had done everything he can trying not to kill, and not all if you saw the pain of having to kill, it would have meant more for the character to have killed. Right. And I think that was the issue with that.
Yeah, because like in the very next, he snaps Zod's neck, has like a minor emotional breakdown, and then the very next scene is like, sup? Yeah. He's like, okay, it's like...
There's tons of... I mean, not same thing with like Suicide Squad. We could spend a whole podcast talking about what's wrong with Man of Steel. Let's be honest, the whole fucking city gets destroyed, and then at the very end, the girl's like, oh, you saved us, Superman. There's like 3 people alive. Yeah, what the hell? But that's that's a tangent. I'm just gonna have to go off on it.
Yeah, Metropolis by the end of that movie looked like it was hit by a nuke.
Oh, I mean, you can totally understand now why Batman would want to be like, I gotta put this guy down.
And that was always my problem. We're going off topic, but real quick, that was always my problem with Batman versus Superman. I got why Batman didn't like Superman. Didn't really understand why Superman had such a beef with Batman.
They didn't explain it, but that's Snyder storytelling for you.
Exactly. So at any rate, so other than Hall H, what were some of the other highlights that you would say happened at Comic-Con this year?
Obviously, the TV stuff. Like I said, the Titans was great. Ballroom 20 had some great stuff. I wasn't in there, but my co-writer Travis Moody over at Guy Hates Geeks, he covered all the Supergirl. He covered Supergirl. He covered The Gifted, the Arrow, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, and you've seen all those trailers because those are out now. And then the extra footage they saw. They all look great. It looks like DC's, DC TV's getting a little bit better with that. You can definitely tell they're kind of waiting for the horse that is Arrow to die, but the numbers are still up there, so they're just letting it keep going until it dies. You can tell that they're planning for its successor being Batwoman. That's definitely going to be taking the place of Arrow. You can tell with that. But yeah, I mean, everything was good. The comic panels were great. The vibe in San Diego was great. It was a great time. I had nothing to take away from where I regretted going. Just, not every... It's kind of like a Marvel film. Not every film is going to be Avengers 4.
Exactly. What would you... Other than Marvel not being there, what would be something else that you think would have definitely upped the ante for this one?
That's tough.
Is there like a particular...
There's really nothing that could have made this better, but see, it's kind of like the linchpin. With Marvel not being there, all the other big houses, Universal and WB, which they also had Godzilla, which was a great trailer. Yeah. I forgot to mention that one.
Yeah, that was a good trailer.
That was a great trailer. And they're really building up that whole monster universe. But without Marvel being there, without having the linchpin as Marvel, all these other giant studios did not have to bring out the marketing dollars like Marvel does. So without Marvel being there, they didn't spend as much money. And by them not spending as much money, that means the con was not as epic as it could have been.
Gotcha.
So that's, I mean, and I hate to say, it sucked because we have Marvel. It did. Without Marvel being there, DC was great, but they would have spent more marketing dollars and made it better if Marvel had been there.
Mm-hmm. What did you think of... the only thing about Star Wars I know is that Clone Wars is coming back, which excited for that.
Yeah, which is going to be on their streaming channel. So
yes.
Clone Wars is coming back. Cyber's going to be the last season. Actually, the last season we didn't get because, Disney bought Star Wars. They're obviously having a new animated show, which is going to take place after Star Wars 6, after Return of the Jedi. So that's going to be kind of like the precursor to the new trilogy we have now. But yeah, there was no Star Wars news at all. Because without Marvel there, that means Star Wars isn't there. So really, the next place you're going to see any news from Disney, meaning Avengers or Marvel or Star Wars, is going to be at D3. Okay. And D3 is their giant Disney convention, which happens a couple months.
Okay. Definitely probably want to have you on the podcast for that one if you're going to be going.
100%. I'll probably go.
Okay, yeah. Is there anything else you feel that needs to be mentioned about Comic-Con?
Yeah, the only thing I would really say is definitely check out my site, www.godhatesgeeks.com, because we had a bunch of coverage. We had about 8 writers down at Comic-Con. Trailers, reviews, all that stuff's down there. So if there's any Comic-Con news you missed out on, definitely check that out if you're somebody that likes to read. Obviously, if you're somebody who likes to listen to this podcast. And then definitely follow me on Instagram, the.travelingnerd. I hit some massive numbers, and I do giveaways. I do all kinds of crazy fun stuff, nerd news, nerd memes, and that's me, the Traveling Nerd.
All right, Lance, thanks for joining us. And,
yeah, brother.
Appreciate it, and really looking forward to having you on the podcast again sometime soon.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, man.
Yeah, man.
All right, everybody, that's going to do it for us. Thanks for listening. Bye.